Coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast, we're ahead of the PGA Championship result, but it's an all-new episode with actor and movie star Robbie Amell joining the show. Really cool guest. He's part of that Amazon Prime series Upload and has some exciting news about the show as well. Plus, we're touching on golf headlines from Oak Hill. We're tuned into a fun trip from Mike and an update to our timeless song list. And we're talking Always End with Food as well, too. Like I said, fun conversation with Robbie Amell coming your way. Really great episode of Course of Life. All of it brought to you by our friends at the Live Take app. Mike and I are on there weekly. It's the place where sports debates get settled, plain and simple. We love the Live Take app because you can challenge your friends, and people out there in the stratosphere and the ethosphere of the internet can vote on who is right on any sports debate of your choosing. The people decide the winner, not just your friends. So challenge us today on the Live Take app. Check out our challenge this week. We're debating new golf topics every single week. Again, it's the Live Take Sports app. Download today.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life. We are proud to be presented by our friends at Desert Fox Golf and the Live Take app. I'm Michael, he's Alex. And Alex, we're recording on an unprecedented Friday afternoon ahead of the finish of the PGA Championship, but that's all right, because we're going to pretend that it's over, and we're going to talk about all the great storylines that happened anyway.
Yeah, that's right. I heard, Bryson beat Rory and Phil in a playoff or something like that, and then Rory was crying on the 18th green. Just crazy stuff.
It was like a 20-hole playoff, went into the night. Tiger came and rolled up in his car and turned the headlights on so that Phil felt like he was playing for a lot of money.
Tiger's driving again, Mike? Oh, no. Jesus.
Yeah.
God. But more lightheartedly, what we know is what we know already is that Oak Hill is a freaking bear of a course. You texted me early Thursday morning at an unprecedented early moment in this tournament. And I was like, yeah, it's the real deal. They were not holding back any punches this week.
Yeah, I was like, what happened to Jon Rahm? He was like 6 over par at the start on Thursday.
Ejection from a lot of the world's best players. And it created some very funny moments as well, too. The one we need to get to, Mike, is Muddy Tom Kim. That's right. Tom Kim, the PGA Tour player who's, 21 years old. He has the face of a 12-year-old. Yep. He's named after Thomas the Tank Engine. And now all of a sudden he finds himself covered in mud.
I mean, sometimes when you're in upstate New York after a frost warning, you find yourself hitting the ball off the fairway and you're just in a bad spot. And that's what happened here.
You forget about that. Yeah. Because after the frost, yes, it's above freezing, but then you get that unmistakable muddy condition around any hazard area. And boy, did he slip in it. I mean, all of his legs and arms were completely covered. So Tom Kim emerges with the face of a 12-year-old covered in mud, Mike. He looked like a 3.5-year-old at daycare that had too much fun at recess. Quite a sight to see to start the week at Oak Hill.
Yeah, not exactly maybe how you want to start out the week. Certainly better than Jon Rahm. But I think the interesting sight, and we had seen some pictures of this, and of course, if you pay attention to Live Golf, you've seen this as well, is how skinny Bryson is now. He shredded some weight. He almost looks sickly to me. Almost, I'm going to compare the way he looks to the way Phil looked when he shredded a lot of weight as well. Yeah. We also thought Phil was sick. I think maybe Bryson's on the coffee bandwagon, and that's what's going on here.
Oh, the all coffee diet Phil did for a week or something like that. Well, he claimed the number I heard was 18 pounds in 24 days, he said.
That's unhealthy to me.
That's got to be keto, right? That's the only thing that does crazy weight loss like that. Or maybe he's doing the Ozempic drug like the celebrities are doing in Hollywood these days. I don't know. He's got something crazy going on. But yes, Bryson did look completely different this past week for sure.
And it seems like on this Friday afternoon, we're going to be seeing a lot of him through the weekend because he is in the top 5 of the leaderboard. I think he even surprised
himself with his performance this week.
Good to see him on our live take, that Bryson was going to be toward the top there, and it seems like you might be right there. But at the same time, I was right saying Scotty was going to be toward the top. So, I'm just saying. We're both
All right, let's get
right.
to the weirdest outfit of the week because we got to talk about Viktor Hovland.
I mean,
This is an interesting situation that's developing, Mike, because you've seen enough golf Twitter to know that Viktor Hovland's outfits cause a lot of commotion because they're very, very bright. Jay Lindeberg is the designer. Very fine fashion designer brand in its own right. But they've gone very, very bright and outwardly colorful with Viktor Hovland's outfits, especially in recent weeks. And at Oak Hill, it really blossomed through. The interesting part of this, Mike, is it doesn't seem like when you ask Viktor Hovland, he's much of a bright color dresser if he was given the choice.
No, I mean, everything we've seen of him off the course is that he is just like super modern and sleek looking. He just looks sharp all the time. And then he's out in the golf course and you got to put a couple pairs of sunglasses on to shade yourself from how loud the colors are.
I know. At the peak for me was the Friday Ricky Fowler outfit. I mean, it literally took me about 3.5 seconds and for him to actually pull the club back before I realized it wasn't Ricky Fowler. The full orange pants, the orange and white shirt. I mean, it was giving me all sorts of 2010 vibes, but it wasn't Ricky Fowler. It was Viktor Hovland.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what his outfits will be over the course of the weekend. Of course, you're going to have your reactions on Twitter and Instagram, Alex, throughout the entire weekend of this event. So if you haven't already, by the time you're listening to this, make sure you're checking out us on Twitter. He's Course of Life 1. I'm MWRINC. We're on Instagram. He's Course of Life Alex. I'm MWRINC. And the official podcast Instagram is COL Podcast.
Yeah, let's get to this week, Mike, because this is always a very curious week to me at what I refer to as the Colonial. It's the Charles Schwab Challenge, Dallas area. And this is always a tricky week for me to forecast because Colonial is like a short, old school course that is like the complete opposite of everything we just saw at Oak Hill. I'm very intrigued by this one coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And of course, we'll see how many of the players that are committed actually still show up after a major championship, because there's sometimes some dropout anyway.
Yeah, we do get some late Wednesday drops. Yeah, so we'll watch that as well, too. Yeah. So fielding question as we talk, but the Colonial is an interesting watch because you're going to see 5-irons off the tee of par fours, and there's shot shaping, and there's dog legs, and you can't hit over the trees in a lot of parts of the Colonial. So it's an interesting track to watch. If you like throwback golf and you like shot shaping and point A to point B golf, this week is definitely for you. So be sure to check out the tour Colonial.
All right, let's switch over to Tune In, where we share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. Alex, the real reason we're recording here on a Friday is because the next morning, on Saturday morning, I get up at 3 to get in the car at 3:30 to get on a plane at 5 to head to Kansas City for my annual pilgrimage to the Destination Imagination Global Finals.
Right. Yeah. The annual pilgrimage. So we're in Kansas City. I know it's floated around from some different cities, but we're in Kansas City. What good barbecue city? You going to have time for anything there?
I hope to have some time to go get some barbecue. It was there last time I went. So it was there last year for the first time post-COVID, and I was not able to go. But in 2019, it was in Kansas City as well before COVID struck it down for a couple of years. Did get some great barbecue at Jack Stack Barbecue. I'll have to see where else I'm going to be going for some barbecue.
Okay. And I know you said that there's something exciting that you wanted to mention regarding this trip. What you're doing something? Are you presenting something?
Yeah. So my role with Destination Imagination is I'm the chair of what we call our alumni council. We're an elected group of alumni representatives that go ahead and help engage and inspire alumni of the program and bring them back and really work with the program to improve the alumni experience as well. And so the program gives out an award every once in a while to distinguished alumni who go above and beyond and do really crazy stuff. You know, ones that are like, wow, I know that person even if I didn't know they were an alumni of Destination Imagination.
Okay.
And so this year we're giving it to a certain 3-time Oscar winner.
Wow.
Daniel Scheinert, half of the Daniels, who wrote, directed, and produced Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a name.
Yeah, and I'm having the incredible honor and pleasure of being able to present that to him at our Saturday night welcome ceremony. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
So
for
you
sure.
on stage with one half of the Daniels? Wait, you're literally handing him the award? What's going on here?
I believe I will be. This isn't the
boy.
Oscars where there's someone else standing there, an award person to hand the award. I think I may either have it on stage with me or something. So,
wait, so you're the beautiful trophy girl that's giving the award out to the celebrity?
Yeah, no trophy girls.
Amazing.
No trophy girls.
Wow, that's really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing all that from your trip. That should be fun, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Again, I'll be posting on my Instagram, MWRINC. So if you're not following, follow there. Well, you can see some of the stuff I did during the week there. But let's talk about what you did with follow up from what we talked about last week with you.
Yeah, the timeless songs, Mike. I'm really transfixed on this. See, the problem is once you start a list like this, that's just so open-ended, I'm wondering if I have to put a cap on this, like how many songs are on this list.
Well, maybe.
It's hard. You didn't want to put a cap on how many Queen songs were on there. So
Beatles, I mean, you can't cap like some artists to only one or two songs. You just
we're compiling a list just because I have nothing better to do with my life of songs that are just timeless, just undeniable, just these are great songs. They're timeless. Everyone knows them, likes them. All right, well, we're going to get a couple new submissions here. I'll run about 10 by you real quick, okay? Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Yes or no?
I mean, yes, but it's a timeless Christmas song. I don't want to hear that in the middle of June.
Right. It is very seasonal, but I mean, when it's time, Mike, it literally goes to number one on the Billboard every year.
Yes, but I think it's on a different list. It's not on a timeless song list. It's on a timeless Christmas song list.
It's the GOAT Christmas song. That we do know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. U2, Beautiful Day.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a quick yes from you. I like that.
Yeah, I like that one.
Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer.
I mean, yes, there are some people that hate Bon Jovi, but yes, we know what that song is.
All right, I'm going to go a little modern with here. I'm going to get curious to get your take on this. Rihanna, Umbrella.
Yeah, that'll work.
I like that. Yeah. I like that you're flexible here. You understand the nature of this. Okay, Adele, Hello.
I mean, there's a lot of Adele songs you could do.
There are. And I don't even like Hello, to be honest. I jokingly turn it off every time it's on the radio. But it's a classic, though. Yeah, I can't deny that.
Okay.
Temptations, My Girl.
Yep, definitely.
Beatles, Hey Jude.
Yep, obviously.
Earth, Wind and Fire, September.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
I'm going to stop right there because I hit a lot of good yeses for you right there.
I'm going to give you another one, which I'm going to throw out there into the ether and you can decide.
Okay.
The Macarena.
It is adding. It is. I don't know though, because does it still hit to this day? It does. For me, it does.
Is it like Gangnam Style? Is Gangnam Style on your list?
Oh, because God. We're getting down a rabbit hole there because then you're just getting into like a viral song. You know what I mean?
Yes, but I feel like if Gangnam Style comes on, we're all like, "Oh man, it's Gangnam Style."
Interesting. So, okay, the debate rolls on. If you have any timeless songs, hit us up on Instagram or Twitter. The list is seemingly never ending. I'm wondering if I may put 100-song cap on this and we vote songs in, vote them out. But there's something to this, so we'll keep it rolling for another week.
All right, let's get into this week's guest. It's always cool when we have like a non-golfer on who's big in other parts of the world. And you've had a number of different Hollywood celebrities join the show, Alex, who love the game of golf because golf is just universal. Which
is fun to say. It's because, you and I were in this stratosphere where we kind of thought that it would be all golfers that join the show. Mm-hmm. But we quickly realized how universal the game is and that everyone plays. And our next guest plays as well, too. I met him at the Invited Celebrity Classic in Dallas last month. Robbie Amell, movie star. He's been in several TV shows that and we run through a lot of his amazing career and a really cool show that he is on right now as well, too. So really cool conversation with Robbie Amell coming your way.
But first, before we get into that conversation with Robbie, let's talk about our good friends at Desert Fox Golf. They make super duper awesome phone caddies. I know I use odd descriptors to say that, super duper Alex, but it is probably my favorite accessory in my golf bag.
And it's great for large events and group outings and things like that.
That's right, because you can get your logo slapped on it so that when you're doing a large event, everyone gets one with your logo.
Nice parting gift, nice thing, part of the swag bag, you know?
Exactly. And if you're doing a large golf outing, Alex, how many people do you think are coming? How many pieces of swag do you need for them?
So many. Think about it. On every cart, at least, 100, 200. And every employee's got to get one. You got to give a bag to everyone who's there. So
exactly. And Desert Fox wants to give you a little extra something simply because we're referring you to them.
That's right. Yeah. It's basically, they're going to give you $100 if you just say the Course of Life sent you and you book an event through Desert Fox and buy their products for your golf event, your golf outing, your company outing, or just a nice employee gift as well too. So again, just tell them Course of Life sent you and you can get $100 referral bonus for literally any Desert Fox event, as long as there's 100 people there. That's it. It's easy as pie, Mike. Free money's on the table from Desert Fox. How about that?
Literally. You can check out everything they have at desertfoxgolf.com. The phone caddy, they've got the Swing Aid tumbler, which is great as well, and a lot of other cool accessories that you can have in your swag bag. You can do an entire Desert Fox swag bag, really, of just nothing but Desert Fox stuff. So again, it's desertfoxgolf.com. You can also reach out to us on Instagram and Twitter as well. We've said those handles a bunch. We'll say them again, though. MWRINC, Course of Life Alex, COL Podcast. Drop us a line. We'll get you in touch with the guys at Desert Fox, and they'll help you out for your big event. desertfoxgolf.com.
Next up on the tee, you may know him from CW shows like The Flash or the Scooby-Doo series and a number of really cool projects he's been in. And also the new Amazon series Upload, which is heading into a new season. And there's an announcement there that we'll get to. We've got Robbie Amell joining us on the Course of Life. Robbie, how's everything going today?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my man. Yeah, the last time we saw each other was a couple weeks ago out in Dallas, Texas at the Invited Celebrity Classic. And, you were working hard on your game when we talked. I'm curious what that vibe is like for you playing golf in front of a crowd and in that kind of tournament atmosphere.
Oh, man. The first tee is terrifying. It's so funny because it's just an ego thing. Nobody cares if I can golf. I'm not there to be a professional golfer. You're there to watch, some of the best in the world. But, the mental hurdle of people watching you do something is surprisingly scary. It was funny. I heard, I was talking to Glenn Day, who was one of the pros I played with, who was just an awesome, and he was like, why are you so, I was like, man, I'm so nervous. He's like, why are you nervous? I'm like, Glenn, what if I handed you a bunch of script pages and started recording you and said, let's shoot a scene? And he's like, I wouldn't do it. I'm like, exactly. I'm like, you're out of your comfort zone. I'm like, I love golf, but I'm not used to playing it in front of people.
Yeah, it's funny. Just because people know you by name, they expect you to be like good at everything, and that can be far from the reality, especially with golf, a game that is just a never-ending pursuit. I'm curious, your time is spent. What's your mix between where you are in Toronto now and Los Angeles, and what's your golf schedule look like around the year?
So we moved back. I lived in LA for like 14 years. I thought I would play a lot of golf when I moved to LA, but I was just a broke actor trying to survive, and I didn't have money to play. And then as I got a little bit of success, I started to play a little more. And then I joined a club in LA a few years ago, a couple of years before COVID. So I guess it's more like 5 years ago now, but time doesn't make any sense since COVID. But my wife and I moved back to Toronto, so I joined a club out here, and it's awesome from like May to November. But there's not much of a golf season after that. So I try and get back to LA as much as I can. My dad and I took a trip to LA right before the Invited Celebrity Classic, which was supposed to be just to kind of hone my game a little bit, but we ended up playing 8 rounds in 4 days, which was probably detrimental to my game at the tournament because I was exhausted. My dad is 75 years old, and he played all 8 rounds. We landed on a Tuesday. We played Tuesday afternoon, 36 Wednesday, 36 Thursday, 36 Friday, 18 on Saturday before we got on a plane Saturday afternoon. And he's an animal.
Yeah, I think I'm more impressed with him at 75 playing 36 holes a day than you finishing.
I kept saying to him, I'm like, you okay? I'm like, I'm pretty tired. He goes, shit, no. He's like, we gotta golf. He's like, it's still cold at home.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, talk to me what that's like connecting with fellow personalities in Los Angeles. I know that's a huge community that I'm getting to know on the golf side, and you and I were talking with Wells Adams, so we just had on the show recently as well too, playing out at Lakeside and things like that. What's that community like for you when you get back out there to LA and play?
I mean, it's great. I joined a little thing called the Golf and Gaming Club, which some gamers started.
I've seen that on Instagram. Yeah,
it's grown into. I think they're up to like 140 members or something like that, and it's great because I didn't have a ton of friends who golfed. I had people I would play with at Lakeside. But I didn't have a ton of friends who played the game. Me and my buddy Josh would play together more than anything. And now we get these once a month tournaments with all these guys. The handicaps range from like a scratch to brand new golfers. So all the format, or most of the formats, are shamble or scramble formats. And it's a great way to get out there and meet other golfers. And it's people in my industry, it's people in the gaming industry. It's kind of a mix of everything. Nice.
What are your favorite? What do you like to play game wise these days? Are you much of a gamer yourself?
I am. I've got my really nerdy game I play, which is actually over 20. It's over 20 years old now, probably even more. It's called Diablo 2.
Oh yes, remember that?
Yeah, I grew up playing it with my buddy, who I played hockey with, and we nerded out on it when we were kids. And there's some Canadian guys that modded it, and they bring out a new version of the game every few months. So we always jump back in for a couple weeks. And then my first person shooter is Apex Legends, which I play with a few buddies.
Cool. Heard of it by name. Wow. Diablo 2. What a throwback. Hadn't heard that name in a while. That was cool.
Oh yeah. It's real nerdy, but it's really great.
Definitely. Love it. Appreciate it. Hey, Robbie, let's talk about the golf and hockey connection. I'm curious because I know you grew up playing a lot, obviously. Growing up where you are, it's definitely a rite of passage, but it sounded like you played pretty competitive hockey growing up. What was that experience like for you? Because I know going to a college in the United States that recruited Canadian hockey players actively, just how crazy competitive that whole scene is.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. You know, if you're going to be drafted by like 12 years old, it's pretty nuts. I played AA my entire life. I was going to go up to AAA, but our AA team stuck together because we were really good. And we ended up coming second in Ontario. Our final year of pushing for it, we lost 1-0 in overtime in the Silver Stick tournament, which is another huge U.S. and Canadian tournament that kind of spans the two countries. So I loved it. I grew up loving it. The weird thing is I never really looked at it as a career. I never really thought I would be an NHL player. I have buddies, or I have guys I played against who went to the NHL, but I always kind of thought of like, oh, maybe I'll just use this to get through college, and I figured I would get into some kind of sports medicine.
Right.
And then I booked my first movie the summer before 11th grade, which was Cheaper by the Dozen 2. And I quit hockey and just decided to try and give it a shot. And luckily it's worked out so far.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I'm curious from a hockey perspective with your golf. I grew up in Massachusetts where a ton of hockey players were on the golf team alongside me. Do you take a lot of comparisons from the motion of hitting a puck with the slap shot motion versus a golf swing, or do you see them as different?
To be honest with you, I started playing both games so young that I'm sure there was similarities and help from one game to the other, but I never really think of like hitting a golf ball like a slap shot or vice versa. But I was brought up playing by my dad on the golf side, and hockey. I mean, I started skating when I was like 4. So I'm too. It was too young for me to remember if I was comparing the two or merging them together. I just kind of was like, this is my off-season sport with golf. And my grandfather and my dad both played, so I was always getting opportunities to go out with them and play, and I just loved it. But I mean, there's definitely something there. Like, tennis players are normally pretty good golfers.
Right. Yeah.
Hockey players, baseball players. It's the hand-eye coordination. It's a lot of the tennis players, you've got the wrist movement. Hockey players, you definitely have the hips. But I don't know. I mean, Jeremy Roenick is a hell of a player. Justin Williams is a hell of a player. There were some good players at the Celebrity Classic who were ex-NHLers.
There were, yeah. We saw Mike Modano out there. How about maybe imagine telling 10-year-old Robbie Amell that you'd be playing in a golf tournament alongside Jeremy Roenick and Mike Modano. How about that thought?
Yeah, that was pretty wicked. Just getting to meet those guys. Modano was way taller than I thought. I always thought he was a smaller player for some reason. He's got the longest arms I've ever seen in my life.
Really cool stuff to see the former athletes out there too. Again, Robbie Amell joining us here. Let's talk about an old project and the current one going on right now. I wanted to touch on a great movie that you made that I love rewatching with my wife, and I'm talking about The Duff. And it had a really fun cast that you were there in working alongside Allison Janney, Ken Jeong, Mae Whitman. I'm just curious, what are your favorite memories from filming that movie alongside such an amazing tour de force in comedic acting?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was funny. I've done 2 movies with Allison Janney, and I've barely had any scenes with her at all. We never talked to each other on screen, and she's so talented. I wish I got to do more with her. But Mae Whitman is a genius. She's so funny. The first scene we shot together on that movie is when she has to do the fashion show of trying on clothes, and she's dancing.
Yes.
And that's just a hard scene.
That's a hard first scene too. Yeah.
It's a one-woman show, and she absolutely crushed it. And we just had a lot of fun. My whole goal for that movie was just to try and make her laugh. And it's funny. I read the script, and it was very she's all that, but the character didn't have a ton of redeeming qualities. And I talked to my wife about it. I was like, I don't know. And my wife was like, you have to do this movie. And CBS Films, we had a talk, and they mentioned Mae Whitman. And I was like, oh man, if you get Mae, this is definitely a different version of the movie. I was a big fan of hers from Arrested Development, and my wife was a massive fan of hers from Parenthood. So it was just awesome. Ken Jeong was the sweetest person ever. It feels fake. He's so nice.
That's good to hear. Yeah, that's reinforcing for the movie fans out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was my first lead role in a feature. It was great. It was a ton of fun.
Awesome. I want to get to the Amazon series upload right now. First 2 seasons are out right now, and it's an absolutely fascinating concept around choosing, dictating, and working everything surrounding your afterlife. Something that everyone thinks about, from time to time, whether it's day or night. You have those moments where you always wonder what that future looks like. I'm curious what it's been like for you to kind of wrap your head around the plot of the series as you film the first 2 seasons and the third now as well.
Well, I mean, Greg Daniels, who created the show, he did Parks and Rec and The Office. He's brilliant. The crazy thing is we shot the pilot 5 years ago now, because it was just a long time from pilot to series, and then COVID was in the middle of season 1 and season 2. So there have been some serious speed bumps, but it's only made the show more relevant as it's been on the air. There's a bunch of stuff that we shot in the show that became real life in between seasons, which is kind of a bummer because, we did it first and then it became real, and it looked like we were copying things in the real world.
Yeah.
Even just the idea of I saw an article recently, and it was by the end of 2023, you're going to be able to have AI versions of family members who can live forever. And it's just so weird, and it's just becoming more and more real. So I think it poses interesting questions. I think it's super subjective. Some people are really into it. Some people are like, this is not something I want my future to be a part of, but it's great. I mean, getting to work with Greg and the cast that he put together is so much fun. So season 3 we shot August, September, October of last year. So it should be out in the fall this year. But season 3 is really, really weird and wacky. And I think it's my favorite season.
We'll get to that in a moment, and I want to talk about a couple of neat moments from the show. One of them is a conversation I have ongoing with my wife and my friends. That's a great conversation piece, which is around having an actual human conversation with your dog, which is something that happens on Upload. We get into this all the time, and I actually like to hypothesize, how much would you pay just to have a 5-minute conversation with your dog in human speak and tell them everything you want to tell them about how to behave and be the greatest dog? I'm curious, do you have a dog yourself? And I'm sure that you pay probably an endless amount of money to have a 5-minute conversation with your dog, right?
Oh yeah, it would be stupid. And then there's no way it would live up to the amount of money just based on my dog's personality. It would be a short conversation, and I'm pretty sure I know everything she's thinking already anyway. But yeah, the show is super fun. It explores weird things like that. We use them as pet therapists. So it's like you sit with a dog and the dog kind of talks you through your problems. It's just, it's very fun, and it's very weird to get a script and read something like that and be like, man, I wonder how they're going to do this. And, we shot with these really well-trained, beautiful dogs, and then they CG the mouth moving when you want it to talk, and you pick a great voice actor to do the rest of the work. And it's very odd, but it's every time I get a new script, it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
it's very thought-provoking indeed. I wanted to touch on for our golfing audience. Let's give a tease about golf in the afterlife. Give everyone out there the vision of what golf is like in the afterlife, because I know there's golf scenes throughout Upload, and it's quite a euphoric setting.
There's an early scene in one of the early episodes. The rich guy who lives across the hall from me, who may have some evil undertones. He takes me golfing, and he's terrible, and I'm naturally good at it, even though I've never played before, which really pisses him off. And then Arnold Palmer shows up. You get you remember the Tupac hologram? You get the Arnold Palmer hologram.
Amazing.
Pop up. So it's just like, it's fun, weird stuff like that, where it's sci-fi, but we try and ground it in real problems and real people. But we get to have fun with some out of the box stuff like that.
Yeah, so again, it's the Upload. It's Amazon Prime series. Season 1 or 2 out now to stream. Let's do a quick little season 3 tease. I heard you say the word wacky for season 3.
Oh yeah.
What else can we tease as we head into the new potential season when that airs later this year, hopefully?
Well, Greg is he loves his cliffhangers. So season 1 had a huge cliffhanger. Season 2 had a huge cliffhanger, and season 3. I don't think it's much of a spoiler, because the whole photo shoot we did for season 3, there's 2 of me, because there's multiple versions of me in season 3. So it was very weird. I had to act opposite a photo double, which would just be someone who looks like me from behind, and then they would take him away, and I would act to nothing opposite me, and then a green screen, and I would have an earwig in my ear playing back the dialogue that I had just said to nobody, and then I had to talk back to myself and try and time out the dialogue. It was the weirdest acting experience of my life, but it was a lot of fun. And the show's just I can't give away too much, but everybody gets their odd moments in season 3, which is really good.
Love it. Very cool. Yeah, that sounds like a trippy process, that recording with your double. Very fascinating. Robbie Amell, again, joining us. Amazon series Upload, season 3 coming soon. Let's do a quick this or that for you, some quick rapid fire questions. The first one's an interesting one. For an upcoming movie, let's say you are in a sports movie, Robbie Amell. I know you got a big hockey background. I also know that you would love to avenge some football background as well, too, from a previous role. So the question is, would you rather win a Super Bowl or win a Stanley Cup in an upcoming movie?
Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup. That's the hockey player in you right there. I love that. Yeah. And then hot dog or protein bar at the turn when you get through 9 holes?
Oh boy, it depends on the hot dog. A great hot dog is an easy win, but a bad hot dog is a nightmare.
They can be, yes. Would you rather make a hole-in-one or an albatross the next time you golf?
Now I have a hole-in-one. It was a terrible shot, but I would rather have an albatross.
It is pretty rare, I will say. So yeah, I don't hate you for that. And sunrise golf or sunset?
Sunset. I'm not much of a morning person.
Fair enough. And a lower score for 18 holes. Would you do it playing righty but with one hand, or playing lefty with both of your hands? How do you think you'd play better?
Probably lefty, both hands.
Yeah, I think so too. I argue lefty against my co-host. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how far I could hit a ball, because I've messed around right-handed or left-handed, but I haven't messed around a ton one-handed, and I think I would just get into more trouble with single hand. Yeah,
maybe the hockey player in you figures out the opposite side, a little wrist shot, little slapper, something like that down the fairway. I think you could make it happen.
Exactly.
Love it. We always end with food, so let's wrap with a couple of quick food questions. And the first one I'm really curious about is I want to ask about Cured Catering. Tell me a little bit about the background on Cured Catering and the business you're in there.
Yeah, my buddy Simon and his sister Eliza, they started a company. My wife loves charcuterie boards, and I love to eat food, and they're just great friends of ours, and they wanted us to be involved, and it kind of grew from being this charcuterie business to a lot more, but it's just like really beautiful tailored platters of charcuterie, candy, gift boxes. We now ship worldwide on some of the items because we've found, ways to seal them and preserve them while maintaining really high quality ingredients.
Nice.
Selfishly, it's just a great way for us to get party platters whenever we host people over. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, the boards are exquisite. You need to check out Cured Catering on Instagram because the displays are unbelievable. Yeah, that's all Simon and Eliza. They do an incredible job. Shout out Simon and Eliza. Love that. All right, and we'll wrap with our 19th hole question for you, Robbie. This one's pretty easy. You get into your favorite clubhouse. What's your go-to order? What's your favorite meal and drink to order at the 19th hole? Oh, man. Because I grew up golfing, there's a special place in my heart for chicken fingers and fries when I come into the clubhouse. Nice. And depending on if we're on the patio, a cold beer or a Radler is amazing. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, fingers and fries. Can't go wrong. What's the dipping sauce to go with them? Oh, sweet and sour plum sauce. The classic. I love that. Awesome. Hey, Robbie, thanks again for hopping on the Course of Life. Looking forward to see the progress with your golf game, season 3 upload, and everything else you got in store as well, too. Thanks a lot. Really nice talking with you.
And we're back. Great chat there with Robbie. Season 3 of Upload coming later this year. And, I like, Alex, that you sometimes go deep with our guests. I didn't intend to go that deep on the afterlife, but it's the nature of the show. It's it's one of those shows that really gets you thinking geez, all right, I know I'm just listening to a podcast right now, but God, yeah, maybe there is an afterlife. Yeah. What is golf life like in the afterlife? I'm going to need to know that. Is it harder or easier? I mean, these are things to think about, I guess, right? I mean, we're just going to have to change the name of the show to Course of the Afterlife. Ooh, that's good. You've already got the sequel written. Wow. Yeah. Nice work there. Good stuff. Hey, if you like that interview with Robbie, plus everything else we do here on this podcast, go ahead and give us a rating on the podcast app you're using right now. Or if you're listening to us on YouTube, because we post the episodes on YouTube as well. 4 stars, 5 stars, thumbs up, whatever you feel is an appropriate rating to give us after you've listened to 40, 50 minutes of this show. If you're that deep, you're probably going to give us at least 3 stars just out of charity at this point. I mean, yes. That's what I would expect. Nothing less than 3 stars. So go ahead and do that, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new episode as well. Let's talk a little basketball real quick because we're on the bandwagon with the Celtics. What are we thinking? Are we playing the Nuggets? Because it looks like the Nuggets. Yeah, it looks like the Nuggets on the Western Conference. Celtics in for a long series.
For sure. They're one of those teams, Mike, that are so infuriating because they have all the talent to win a championship, and it feels like they should either this year or last year or in recent years, but they just can't put it together in the most clutch of moments, and that's been their Achilles heel, and it continues to show through. So just another grind of a series for Boston sports fans. We're so used to this, but hey, at least it doesn't look like LeBron's on the other end of things, but time will tell this week. We'll see.
We will see indeed. In the meantime, while we wait for that to conclude itself, let's #AlwaysEndWithFood.
Yes, food segment to end every Course of Life podcast episode. And I'll start with an interesting story that went pretty viral this week. And I don't know if you saw it, but there was a very frugal bride who got married in Georgia. And she went viral on TikTok because she catered her entire wedding buying to-go food from Chili's, putting it in catering trays and serving it. She did all of her catering, Mike, for under $2,000. Now, you and I know farewell that catering for a wedding costs way more than that on average. So I guess what's your quick hot take thoughts on wedding catering from Chili's?
Did we get the quesadilla explosion salad? Because that's a good salad.
Yeah, I saw a lot of different apps on there. The receipt was, you would have laughed at the receipt. It's so long. It's like a CVS receipt. It's amazing. But I mean, I have no hatred towards the story at all. I'm actually very okay. If I went to a wedding of any caliber and found out that we're just having a bunch of Chili's apps and snacks, I would be very content with that menu.
Are we getting Chili's baby back ribs?
I don't know if I saw ribs on there, to be honest, but you'd have to think there were some racks, right? Got to be some racks of ribs.
I mean, I would not be upset to see Chili's as the food at a wedding, and it would be better than a lot of food I've gotten at weddings.
Probably.
And I've been to a lot of weddings when I was a wedding videographer. So I've been to a lot of weddings. Yeah, because
there's just so many bland chicken breasts out there and potatoes and veggies. You can only do so many ways.
Steak and all that. Yeah, it's just, no.
Okay. No hate for the wedding catering from Chili's. I like that.
No. I went to a new restaurant for me. My wife has been a bunch. A place called Nom Nom in Savannah. They do poke bowls and different things.
Nice.
And they brought out a hot sauce, which I have never seen before. It was a yellow Sriracha. Have you ever seen a yellow Sriracha before?
So there's a sauce in the Austin area called a Thunderbird sauce. And I think it might be something similar, but I'm doubting it's as hot as the one that you experienced.
It actually wasn't that hot at all. I was really surprised. Oh, okay. It was nice and mild. It was less hot than a regular red Sriracha, which was kind of nice. It was kind of it was really well balanced. I was really happy with it.
Yeah, I've hit the poke bowl revolution in the last few years too. That's something I wouldn't have normally gotten for a lunch, but weekday lunches, there's a couple places in town here where I'm very much in on the poke bowl. So yellow Sriracha, interesting.
It was good. I recommend. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Like that. All right, that's a wrap on Always End with Food and another great Course of Life. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, and look forward to seeing you next week.